How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is another
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
Yes, this is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age, and we're doing an unusual one this time. It's
Volton, the Human Generator.
I know you like taglines, but you didn't have to be so loud.
This is a really weird premise.
I was just about to get to that.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay, Volton is a strange creation, and this is another one out of Bilbara, and as I said with Tornado Tom, and I mentioned in the video, I can't find the fourth issue. This is another gadget superhero, I want to say. The powers do not come from him, kind of. He is a hero that harnesses the static electricity in the body to be able to create his powers. Like right here, I'll say part of it. Guy Newton, brilliant young electrical wizard, masters the secrets of static electricity in the human body. In his invention, concealed in a tiny box attached to its chain, wielded around his waist. So he uses a gadget to harness static electricity inside of his body to give him the powers. So it's kind of a tech-based superhero because he's using technology. It's a gadget because it gives him his power, yet it uses the static electricity in your own body to generate that power. So it's kind of a power. It's a mixture of a couple of different things to make the hero. Now, as a starting premise, the hero is interesting. As the stories go on, he's a little uncompelling because nothing stops him. Like in the early days of Superman, where nothing could penetrate, stop, or slow him down, it becomes a little uninteresting when there is nothing that stands in his way. There's no adversity. There's nothing that stops him from being strong and powerful. But I went ahead and I covered the 4 of the 5 appearances because I can't find one of the issues. And you're going to get a brief rundown of who Volton is. My opinion aside about him being uncompelling because of his powers, as a starting point, it's great. They should have made a little bit of adversity for him. And yes, the stories weren't really long enough for him to get weak and become strong again. There's only 6 pages. But the way that these stories actually play into each other from the first, second to the 3rd issue, they could have started something in the first, like introduce somebody in the first, have him effective in the second, and then resolve it in the 3rd issue. But that's not what they did. Anyways, let's go ahead and cover Volton, and you'll see his first appearance, and then you'll know the Human Generator. Volton, Guy Newton, first appeared in Cyclone Comics #1 in 1940. The original publisher is Bilbara Publishing, created by Charles Quinlan. Now, Volton does have 5 appearances, but just like with Tornado Tom, who I covered a few videos ago, I have not been able to find number 4. I've been through many different comic book sites, can't find a number 4 anywhere. In fact, I can't even find a full issue of number 2. Most of the other sites, they've only got Tornado Tom's appearance in number 2, but I did find Volton's appearance in number 2. So, if I cover anybody else from Bilbara, I'll only have 3, but I can cover 4 for Volton. Now, Volton seems to appear on the cover of number 4, which is the only issue I cannot find. And I don't know what the obsession is with him appearing with no shirt and just the trunks. because he appears like this in the beginning of number 1 and number 5, but that's not his outfit. His outfit is fully clothed. So I don't know what the obsession of him being barely clothed for a picture even does. It doesn't do anything. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, in the first issue, they mentioned that he harnesses the power of static electricity, and it's all contained in a controlled device that he wears on his chest, in his midsection, in a box. But they do mention the fact that he harnesses the power of static electricity, which the premise is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know how much body or energy the human body can conduct or even produce, but static electricity doing everything that it does in here, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean the speed of movement, enhanced strength, being able to create a penetrable wall of electricity which can stop bullets, it all seems to be within his power set, and I don't think that static electricity could do something like that. Okay, so Cyclone is the comic. Volton hates criminals. He hates them with a passion. And in the first issue, he confronts the commissioner and says, "Look, I'm fighting these criminals whether or not you help me. So you can either participate or you can sit back and watch me." So in the first issue, he catches a couple of bank robbers, which we will go after. In the second issue, it's actually kind of interesting. The first and the second issue kind of play into each other. The end of the first leads to the story of the second, where a district attorney was killed, and he has to find the people who are responsible for it. In the third issue, actually makes reference to the second issue. So these are all different stories, but the fact that they mention previous ones or leading into the next one was actually kind of interesting, because in the 1940s, most of these stories, unless they're to be continued, are fully contained stories which don't make references to the other ones. So the fact that they were making references was actually kind of interesting. Now, I don't know if there's any connection in the fourth, because I can't find it. And in the fifth, he basically, in the third one, there's a whole bunch of gangsters who finds a scientist who can cause electrical disruptions in the atmosphere, which disrupts a whole bunch of communications that are relying on that at the time in the 1940s. As you can see this picture right here, which I decided to show, this is all of the things that are requiring to use electricity that are affected when there's no electricity in the atmosphere. And these guys want $50,000 a month to keep them from letting the scientists disrupt the atmosphere, which, that's a lot of money back then. It's a lot of money today. These guys want $50,000 a month, which is equivalent to a little over $1 million today, and they're wanting that monthly. And I don't think that they were businesses back then, even if they were radio, television, or it wasn't television, radio, telephone, and telegraphs. I think coming up with $50,000 a month would have been a tall order. I mean, today, maybe would have been a tall order, even at $50,000, but close to $1 million in today's money. Okay, and in the fourth issue, he basically stops. Oh, what did they say it was? Let me go over here to the last page. An extortionist who was preying on influential and prosperous businessmen. Basically, he was extorting money from people, and if they didn't pay him, he would strap them up to an electricity machine, which would not kill them. It was electrical torture and would drive them insane. So this guy was preying on businessmen to give him money, or he would drive them nuts. And Volton stopped that. And then in the very last issue, it says another amazing adventure of Volton and next month's Cyclone Comics. Don't miss it. Which all the stories in number 5 were making reference to the next issue of Cyclone. So I think they may have been intending to go beyond issue number 5. Why they didn't, I don't know. I also don't know why I can't find a full copy of number 2 or number 4, which I've searched. I've searched many different sites that allow you to read comic books online and cannot find number 4 anywhere. Okay, so that's basically Volton. He channels and harnesses static electricity to help him fight crime, makes him super fast, super strong. And, I mean, he basically doesn't face any challenges because anything that he can face that would adversely challenge him, the static electricity provides him with the powers to be able to circumvent that problem. So, I don't know if the compelling factor is there quite as much because there's nothing that can stop him. But that is the 4 issues. And he's interesting enough for what he can do, but what he can do, it's interesting at first, but as it goes on, you're kind of like, okay, your static electricity can do anything. It's not as compelling as it was when we first saw it. So let's go ahead and cover the first issue, which is interesting as a premise to start, but as a continuing feature, not as much. I mean, maybe if they had gone beyond 5 issues, they could have come up with a villain that was able to challenge the static electricity. Yet, we have 5 issues, and he just stops thugs and crooks. So, let's go ahead and cover the first appearance of Volton. Volton, the human generator. Guy Newton, a brilliant young scientist, has discovered the amazing secrets of mastering the powerful forces of static electricity in the human body. The controlling device is concealed in a box on a chain that is wheeled around his waist. He calls himself Volton, by Cass M. Quinlan. Even though this isn't his costume, but this will not be the first time that we see him presenting himself like this. Disgusted with the tedious and often unsuccessful methods of the regular enforcement officials in detecting and punishing criminals, Volton, equipped with his strange device, offers his help to them. At the police commissioner's office, "What makes you think we need your help, and just who do you think you are?" So he is presenting himself before the police commissioner, and he's basically like, "Hey, come throw this guy out." So as they come in there, Volton uses his incredible strength and lifts both of these officers above his head. "You ask me who I am? Just call me Volton. I am the most powerful man on Earth." Not even close. You're channeling static electricity. I don't even know the concept of how static electricity can make you strong like this. I've had static shocks before. I've never been able to lift full-grown men over my head like that. "See, Commissioner, I have no desire to injure your men, so I'll put them down gently." And then he hits them, by simply absorbing the static electricity from their body. So he subdues them by absorbing their static electricity. I can't even begin to explain how this works. Okay. So the commissioner, still thinking that he is a bad guy, calls in a cadre of police. "All right, Commissioner, you asked for it." And they all suddenly try to charge at him, but they're stopped by an invisible wall. But suddenly releases a charge of static voltage that completely protects him. The officers appears as if they run smack into a concrete wall. Let's see. He's telling the police commissioner, "Look, I'm legit. I'm gonna help you." And the commissioner he's not having it. But the commissioner is a hard man to convince. "Send the militia. Send the battleship." He better be close to the ocean. "Send anybody, but get this maniac out of here." And Volton really has to prove his point here. So he walks through the railing that surrounds the police desk and says, "Stop him, he'll kill me. And besides, when you pound a desk, don't tickle it, hit it." Bam! It just breaks it in half. His electrically paralyzing the thoroughly polite and police officers. Now, you just sit there and listen to me. Yeah, he's the hero. Okay, and here he gives a little exposition. I don't want to make a fool of you or your police. What I've just done to you, I can do to 1 or a million. I hate crime and criminals. Do I work against them with you or alone? Choose. So he's fighting crime either way. He's either doing it with or without the police. So it's like, I'm doing this. You can either work with me, or you can stand there and watch. Okay, so the police, the phone rings, and Volton goes ahead and answers it. Go ahead. Yes, repeat that. And using his amazing powers of static electricity, he amplifies the telephone. A gang of bandits just held up the First National Bank and are escaping in a fast car on Route 9W. Listen to this, Commissioner. Okay, yes. I've seen enough and felt enough. Go ahead and bring them in. I'm for you 100%. And then he races off in what looks like a blur of speed. So far we've found out, based on where we're at right now, is that with the power of static electricity, he is super strong, he is super fast, he can absorb static electricity from others or make a wave of static electricity that seems like a wall, and the completely unnecessary and probably never will be used again power to amplify the receiver of the telephone so it comes through like a megaphone. He races to the police car that is parked in front of the headquarters. You know, it amazes me, the police cars, the way they look back in the 40s. This isn't the first time I've seen something like this. It's just, it's a stark contrast to what they had today to what they had back then to what we use today. With his strange power, he supercharges the motor and it practically flies down the highway. Okay, now we know that he can supercharge motors and make the objects work faster. So there's another power to add. Traveling along at a terrific rate of speed, Volton soon overtakes the bank robber's machine. Hey, pull over! And they shoot at him with their machine guns, and the bullets strike harmlessly off of Volton's protective electric wall, which we saw him use that wall when the cadre of police officers were trying to get him. By absorbing the current, Vulcan kills the ignition system of the bandit's car. So not only can he take electricity away from others to subdue them, he can take the energy away from the vehicle. So he stops the pursuing car by absorbing the electricity from it. As both cars has come to a halt, Vulcan and the gangsters leaps out simultaneously, and we can see the lines on him showing that he's moving fast. Kill the blasted cop and we'll grab his car for a getaway. Come and get me, boys. Meet Volton, gents, the super electrified one-man police force. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw him. Why would you think he was a police officer? I understand he was in the car, but he looks nothing like a cop. Okay, now he's saying that he's doing this just because he needs the exercise and he likes beating criminals up. Tough like guys like you should stick together. Then Volton releases the powerful magnetic charge. Okay, now he has a powerful magnet force, and he makes all four of those guys stick together. The gang is magnetically attached to the rear of Volton's car, so he magnetically attracts them to the car. And as he's driving back, apparently their feet are on the ground, so as they're going back, they're getting the Volton hot foot. That's what it says right there. And it looks like their shoes are on fire. Okay. I'm not even going to dive into that. Do I think something like this would be possible? Yeah, with the kind of shoes that they were wearing back there in the 1940s and a high rate of speed. Something like that is plausible, but we're just going to let this go. It's a comic book. All right, here they are, commissioners. Re-signed, sealed, and delivered. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Okay. The First National Bank robbery is now officially solved. Okay, Chief, the rest is up to the courts. Let's see. We'll read the last 2 pages here. Word just came in, Chief. District Attorney Mello was murdered last night at his home. Almost burnt. Let's try this again. Word just came in, Chief. District Attorney Mello was murdered last night and his home almost burned to the ground. Chief, you can give your men a holiday on this case. Just relax and watch Volton solve the mystery with the new science of electrical crime detection. Don't miss the next Real Pack adventure, Volton, in next month's Cyclone Comics. I hope you liked this story. I hope you had fun learning about Volton. Bilbara is a strange publication. Their stories actually seem kind of different from the normal kind of thing that you would see in the Golden Age. I guess not everybody followed the same formula. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. Go ahead and send me your requests if you have them. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.